Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. It's clobbering time. That means Marcus Cooper and I are gonna fight. We're gonna just beat the crap out of each other. You can't tell, but the cameras are set up in my living room. We're just no. It's
Cooper's got super strength. I'm afraid of him.
We're gonna be nerds and talk about comic book stuff. This week, the topic is sidekicks. Who's the best sidekick? And for my money, I put the two best sidekicks, Robin and Bucky. But it's any sidekick, and super powered, normal, whatever sidekick you want. And speaking of sidekicks, we got Tony. Tony's not working.
Is he coming on? We were just saying how much we can't stand. Oh, sorry.
No.
So hey, how you going?
Weren't we trashing this guy just a little bit ago? Okay.
Yeah, whoever's not here, we trashed. That's
absolutely.
Okay, he's here now. Okay, gotcha.
Look, new really wimpy sketch paper I got from Amazon.
Forgive me, I just got home from work literally 15 minutes ago, and
you could, if I'm up this late, you could wait a half hour and you could just take a breath and jot.
I wanted to do midnight or as close as possible to midnight.
So as
normal, we'll filibuster a bit, and I'll check out the. This is a StreamYard link, so as always, it's clobber time. Is open invite. The rules are try to keep it family friendly, and if I don't know who you are, you got to have a camera that just keeps down the shenanigans. You'd be surprised at how many people pop up. I don't even know who they are, and the cameras never turn on. You know.
That is the one thing I really agree with you. One thing about watching, we were just talking, and I drive a lot, so I listen to YouTube like the radio. And it doesn't matter what stream it is. If people have their camera on, I like it a lot better.
Right.
I genuinely like it.
I want to talk to faces. Second off, I see people showing up on the bottom with no cameras, and then like when they realize they're not going to become on, the camera goes on, and it's like something. I don't even want to repeat what I'm seeing. Every once in a while you'll see me making a face. That's when that happens. So that's my if RJ from the Fourth Age shows up, that's a different story. I know him.
Well, our RJ. RJ to me too is a different story. Not that I know him very well.
I know we got KO Joe. Happy Friday, happy weekend. Yeah, this was a long, stressful weekend. I am having a blessed day. I'm having a very blessed day.
Well, tomorrow's Saturday. Can't be
you getting a hello?
Well, technically, it is Saturday already. So
That's right.
And if the first rule of clobbering time is not to talk about clobbering time, then I guess we got to go. It's not right. We can't break the rules, so then it's over, and everybody else is saying hello. So I just want to give a little bit of news, and then everybody will introduce themselves or whatever, and then we'll talk about it. But all the artwork and the lettering for Heroic Tales 2 is complete.
Fantastic.
I just got while I was driving, I got a message from my editor. This is a big milestone. Only 2 typos in the we do temporary letters, and I'd like to ask my editor for a dialogue. She goes, no, the dialogue I always read it out loud. The dialogue was pretty good. Only two typos. She goes, you're currently tied for first place out of anything I've ever edited. I was like, I cannot believe that I only had 2 typos. One of the typos, though, should be 3 typos because I misspelled a name, but she thought it was an alternate spelling of the name. But I'm glad she caught it. So there you go. So what we're doing now is Luke Stone in the letters page, and then he's making like a fun ad page of all my merchandise because the book has to be divisible by 4. So and then I have a bunch of ads that I've commissioned from people so to fill it out so that it'll be 40 pages. And then we do the print file. It's called a print file. The I forget what it's called, the print file. Then we send it to the printer and that's it. So that's it. So literally depends. I haven't talked to the printer yet. You go on a first come first serve basis. It could be starting to get printed in 2 weeks. It could starting to be printed in a month. We're a little behind schedule. What can you do? What can you do? So that's all the comic book news. I'm going to make an update on Fund My Comic and Kickstarter tonight. So we got Heroic Tale. Okay, we got outside of Clobbering Town. We don't talk about Clobbering. No, we got to promote it. And then we got this comic called Community Service Preambles. Cooper, you want to talk about that? Coop, you want? I guess he can't hear us.
Book.
Community delay.
Service. I can hear you. You can't hear me.
We can hear you.
Hold on. 1 second. You can hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I guess there was a delay.
All right. Testing. Yep. All right. I'm good. Yeah. Sorry about that. Community Service Preambles. That's my first book. And I got a sample comic out right now, sample PDF for people to check out. Almost complete with the art. We'll get the lettering, and then I'm trying to get it shipped by the end of the year.
Oh, cool.
Fantastic. I have to make the list of
iconic opener home. I forgot about Watson. Watson counts as a sidekick.
Well, he's not a superhero sidekick.
Right. Watson is almost an equal. So, Tony, how you doing?
Fine, John. How's everyone going?
How's everything in Albuquerque? What? Probably.
We're probably going to get the National Guard deployed here pretty soon.
You should. That's good.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The crime is that bad?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When I lived there, what's bad about Albuquerque was I lived what they called the student ghetto. It was like, within walking distance to the University of New Mexico. We always rented out houses. My last 2 years there, though, I moved way out to like Rio Rancho, I think. Rio Rancho, and that was like more families. But the student ghetto, literally, like one block was great, beautiful houses and families lived there. Then the next block over was like crack houses.
Oh, I see that sometimes.
And then it was like random skinhead attacks, like you couldn't predict the violence. It was just bizarre, I would literally, because it was an open carry state. I would walk around with my gun in my holster. Nobody ever bothered me. But I can only imagine it get worse because I left in 2000, so I imagine it's gotten worse. Yeah. I didn't know the national. It's real funny that the National Guard has to go to all these Democrat-run states to clean them up.
Well, Democrat-run cities more specifically. Even look at Portland. Holy, and they're like, oh, we're so calm. Yeah, I'm sure the really nice part of Portland's really calm.
Well, right now they're currently cleaning up Memphis.
So, oh, really?
They're attacking the ICE because they're taking what should happen.
Our mayor got on the news today and recorded an anti-ICE commercial. But that's great, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Adam Carolla said they should just change the acronym so it's nice. So it'd be a whole different brand.
National Immigration.
Nice. They were like, you could put it national in front of it, and everybody would call it nice, and everybody would have a better attitude.
Why not? It works for Antifa, right? They could just call themselves something and then say something. We're Antifa.
No,
right?
they call themselves something. They say something else. The fascists that go after fascists. Wait, what? What?
Yeah.
Well, a journalist got attacked by Antifa. And
Nick Sorter,
and then the Portland police arrested him, Nick Sorter.
Yeah,
and,
well, that's going to be taken care of.
Even though they jumped him, he got arrested by Portland, and that got retweeted by Elon, and it went straight to the top. And so the DOJ is opened an investigation to the Portland Police Department as to why that happened. So. That's what they needed to kind of like get their foot in the door. So they're going straight to they're going to find out who did the stand down order on the Portland Police Department.
Well, they have to protect in Portland and Seattle particularly, they have to go and protect the federal buildings that weren't done the first time.
Yeah,
and it's not about attacking these people, but if they get attacked, you can't always see the police getting stuff thrown at and they just sit there. And I'm like, they're better than I am. If I had a nightstick and somebody threw something at me, I don't even know what would happen.
Well, the lady in charge of the ICE facility in Portland said that they had to watch people get attacked around the facility, and they couldn't do anything about it unless it's federal. But once the journalist got attacked, and the police with that blatant slanted towards the Antifa, then that becomes a Department of Justice matter. So,
Right.
They screwed up. They really screwed up with that.
Well, I put in my application for
So
ICE.
now Trump himself is like saying investigate that. So, yeah.
I put in an application for ICE, 50 grand sign-in bonus. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll put my construction worker card on the shelf and then do ICE for a couple of years.
For ICE, I'm getting into better shape. If I get into better shape, I'll think about it.
I've been getting pretty good shape.
You were telling me. Well, I've been losing weight.
Dean Cain joined. Dean Cain joined, and that sucker's in his 60s, isn't he?
A friend of mine, he lives and works in Portland. He says that Antifa and the police sort of work together, like that they've sort of infiltrated all of the local government things. Yep. So I mean, it makes sense.
Wow.
Well, but that proved collusion, and so the DOJ can get involved now because that proved collusion. And what they've been waiting for the smoking gun to prove that the cops and Antifa are working together, and that was a blatant example of that. So it proved collusion, and now they can get involved. And so that was a big screw up. So,
yeah, I'm just hoping that Trump is building up for like a massive round of arrests before the midterm elections. I'm hoping. Surprises Hillary.
Or he puts more sombreros on Democrats. It's awesome. He's the biggest troll ever. It's so funny.
Oh,
you know what's funny? They keep trying to troll JD Vance, and he just laughs with it.
I know. That's awesome.
That's what you got to do. You got to just laugh with it. You know.
Yep.
Because once you're offended or defending yourself, you're lost.
No, it's like, what did your teacher say when you were getting bullied? Ignore the bully, and they won't bother you.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's the thing, though.
Nope, he's back.
Okay, am I freezing up? Sorry.
Oh, he froze.
Oh, okay.
I tend to interrupt him, so I apologize.
No problem.
Yeah. I don't know if I would make it now. Now that you have to be in shape and everything,
you could make it.
But is ICE the military? ICE is not the military. Is it? I mean, it's federal agents.
It's federal agents. It's more like federal. It's a federal agency like the FBI.
Well, ICE is taking pretty much anybody that comes through the door with any kind of like ability right now. So,
well, you can handle a firearm and can handle a baseball bat, John. I think you're in.
Oh yeah,
right.
Big old bear like you, then they'll be they can use a for a steal.
Now the government's still shut down, right? I haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, it's shut down. Whatever that means.
Anybody's life been affected?
No, just government workers have to work without pay for a little while. They get all the back pay though. It's not like the biggest deal. And this time, they keep on trying to say it's Republicans are traditionally. The Republicans had to take it, but they can't take it this time because all they want is just an extension of the same stuff that's going on, which is a Biden budget, not a Trump budget. It's not a new budget. And they're acting like they're taking everything away. They're not taking anything away. Nothing's taken away. Yeah. They're crazy people is what it is.
Well, see, even the press can't run interference anymore because
the gaslighting they try.
The White House, the White House put out the actual document that they were proposing, the counter proposal, and it's right there in the document that they won't they won't Medicare for illegals. I mean, it's right there in the document. So they went from like, that's not what we want, and now they're saying, well we do, but this is a small amount.
Yeah, they've been caught.
I've been hearing that now that the Congress is shut down, the executive branch has like powers to fire people.
They can do Doge stuff, and they can go fire all these people. Yeah.
fire everywhere.
Russ Vaughn has evidently been planning for this for months, and now he actually has a plan for this. That dude is scary.
Yeah,
he's like a freaking super villain.
Yeah.
He is a pit bull, man. I love that guy.
It was part of Agenda 2025 or whatever that was.
Yeah, he's the architect of it. He's the architect.
I didn't know they were going to Albuquerque. As long as they leave the Frontier Diner alone, I'm cool. That's still my favorite place in all.
They probably eat at the Frontier Diner. It could be the Ice Diner.
Cody, when was the last time you went to the Frontier Diner?
Oh, a couple of weeks ago. Got a roll. Ate it in your own
You got the cinnamon roll?
Mm-hmm. It was really good. Yeah, the crime in that area is like right around when you start hitting Nob Hill, things start to get a little hairy. Then there's a few blocks where there's always beggars and stuff, but when you get downtown, that's when things get really, really dangerous. Around the El Rey, around that area, that's some dude got shot there the other day.
Yeah, the El Rey Theater. Jeez, I remember I had left the 66 diner. I made a left on Central, and I was going towards the university, and I was just stopping at a red light, and this guy looked like Jesus. Just opened up my car door, got in the car, and was like, "Okay, this is where we're gonna go." And I just pointed my gun at him, and I said, "Get out of my car." And he was like, "It's cool, guy. It's cool, guy." But like, I don't know if he was mistaking me for somebody else, or if it was like an attempted carjack, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe he was just crazy. But I'm not playing that game.
How's it over there in New York?
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh,
it's absolutely terrible. People get lit on fire in the subway. People get pushed in the subway.
That's not all that happens to them in the subway.
Right, and if you defend yourself, you go to jail. And it's going to get worse when this Muslim communist.
Well, that's insane.
You think he's going to win?
Bad guy.
Well, we got a choice.
Of course he's going to win. It's New York.
Well, I don't know.
We basically have not even like a Muslim, like he's like infatada Muslim, communist, or the guy who killed everybody's grandmothers. The guy.
For Curtis Sliwa.
I'm rooting for Curtis Sliwa. Basically.
You never know. I mean, he's the only one who made sense. I mean, I've listened to him, not anymore, but when I was in New York for years.
If I still lived in the 5 boroughs, I'd be voting for Curtis Sliwa. But it's
well,
a problem. And what's his name? This guy, he's only been in America for 8 years.
I know.
He was born in Uganda. His parents have a complex in Libya or something like that. He's the real life Manchurian candidate. He is a plan. He's just came here.
He's a multi-millionaire. It's a nepo baby.
Right. Part of me.
It's hilarious that he's a communist.
If I didn't work in the 5 boroughs, because I just need to make another 4 years, and I'm done.
But the problem with that is, and I live on the other side of New York in Westchester County, southern Westchester County, and middle Westchester County. So what happens in the city affects the suburbs in a way. It's hard to explain, but it does. And so many of the suburbs travel to the city for work.
Tony, keep your mic off when you
tri-state area.
Tony, when you're not talking, turn your mic off.
Okay.
That's it again. Oh.
Yeah.
I got to pet the cat. So it's bad for the whole tri-state area. It's not. It doesn't affect it directly, but it does affect it.
I'm if I wasn't so financially dependent upon the 5 boroughs, I would root for this guy to get elected just to see what happened.
Yeah, I people say that and they're like, oh, geez, they just got rid of that other guy, De Blasio.
It's like part of me just when your buddy's an alcoholic, you're just like, he has to hit rock bottom. He has to hit rock bottom.
Yeah, but what if you can't get out? Like London can't get out of rock bottom. They got the same type of guy in there, and and then it went all the way to the prime minister, and all of England is a disaster.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It's far too scary for the people who live there. They don't vote for him.
But some of the people, like, it's really the boroughs. The city's the city, and it's always going to, that's just going to go down. Everybody thinks it's just Manhattan, but there's a whole ton of people.
It's all the people like me that, like, the blue collar guys, the cops,
yeah,
the electricians, the carpenters.
I know.
We all live in the suburbs, and we commute to Manhattan. And the people in Manhattan, there's two types. They're dirt poor, or they're financial people who are just going to pack up and leave. And I don't know. It's like New York City, the 5 boroughs has like the highest Jewish population. Are they going to vote for this guy?
Well, I heard it's a lot of the Upper East Side Jews that are voting for him.
Like, what is going on? Like, this guy is actively saying death to Jew.
We discussed that a lot, and nobody knows why they keep voting for like secular Jews keep voting for Republicans. I mean, Democrats, but they always have. A whole side of my family does that. Like, yep. I'm half Irish and half Jewish, and they still, my brother and sister still do that. Now they're not in the city anymore. They're not in New York anymore. So, well, my sister is, but she's not in the city.
We got a bunch of people down. So I'll say one more thing, and then we'll get into tonight's topic. But when the governor DeSantis of Florida gets rid of property tax in Florida, do you think Jimmy Palmiotti will still pay property tax?
I think so.
Right.
Because you got to be consistent. You can't be hypocritical. I don't see his posts anymore because I like him enough, and I like when he talks about comics, but his passive aggressive political tweets that he puts out and he deletes like 5 minutes later because somehow that wasn't a good idea kind of bother me. So I don't bother.
But if you're a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat, and you move to Florida and Florida gets rid of property tax, you as a superior human being should continue to pay property tax.
You could pay as much as tax as you want. You can always give more if you want to. Yeah, you move to Florida to get out of New York, and you're the New York Democrat, and he's a prototypical New York Democrat. He talks just like my sister, feminine Democrat, as a matter of fact. It's all about feelings, not about facts. And then rip on Florida when you're not paying any taxes? Come on.
Right.
Come on.
To improve your life. You move there to improve your life.
I mean, God bless him. He can move there.
My friend Adam Schwartz does the same thing. He left New York, moved to Florida, improved his life, raised his kids, and he talks nothing bad about Florida. Like, why did you move there? You dance with the one that brought it's like complaining about your wife. You know what I mean?
My father moved to Florida, loves it to this day. Doesn't complain.
I mean, I like the politics, but I just wouldn't go because I can't stand the heat and humidity.
It's hot. It's hot. I'm going to probably have to visit him more often, and it's really hot there. I go in February, it's not so bad, but as soon as it hits April, it's like 96 degrees.
Like when Tony lives in Albuquerque, he could back me up.
Albuquerque's dry heat. He could handle it.
Yeah, but Albuquerque has more hotter days than Florida, like temperature-wise.
But it's not
over
humid.
100 degrees.
Right.
But it's not humid.
But it's dirt dry, and I like it. You just stand in the shade, or you get one of those misters, and you are fine. But Arkham Hobby says 5 boroughs is going to turn into Prison City from Escape. Yeah, I didn't realize that Escape from New York was a prophecy. I thought it was.
I don't. It's going to be a little while before it gets that bad, but still.
All right, so
too many things going on. We've
been filibustering for 25 minutes, probably chasing some people away with politics. But let's get into tonight's topic. It's been a tradition for superheroes to have sidekicks. If I was a smart person, I would have looked up and did research. Who is officially the first sidekick in comic books? It's got to be some who is the first? It's got to be somebody like Pinky, who is the sidekick to like the Black Terror or something, But
well, let's see, date-wise.
And the theory was right, Cooper. It was like basically early identity politics. The kids need somebody to identify with. Because the superheroes were always like older father figures, and then the sidekick. Excuse me. Then the sidekick was like who the kid identifies with. And
Arthur Conan Doyle basically said he created Watson so that the reader could get like
Robin.
in the head of Sherlock Holmes, have some way to move the story along.
Right,
Robin
right.
was the first.
Robin was the first
It
sidekick.
was Robin. I pulled up a list just to remind me of Pinky and all the other ones. There's so many in the 40s, and the ones that we can't even remember. I mean, there are whole groups of superhero sidekicks. And I just asked Grok because they said it was Robin. If it's true, that was the first one, and it was Batman up. Somebody to talk to. They really didn't want Batman. Batman could not have been a big superstar to be as dark. I mean, now it is because we're a different world, but
with Tony,
yeah, it was one of the changes that Bill Finger made.
Oh yeah,
right.
But I wanted to back up Tony over here when he was talking about Watson. Watson was brilliant because otherwise it would who did Sherlock Holmes talk to?
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes needed somebody to explain his brilliance, explain everything. And so Watson, like if you saw the first Hellboy movie, that young agent, that's what he represented the audience. He was the one that you explain everything to. It's a common tactic that works. You can't just have a solo superhero or a solo character just walking through everything, picking up stuff. You know what I mean? Like he has to explain it to people, and Watson represents us.
One example of the earliest example of a sidekick would be Enkidu from Gilgamesh.
Okay.
And Sancho Panza from Don Quixote.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I would have spaced on that one forever. Yeah, that's a really Sancho Panza is a good one. Cooper, you look like you got something to say.
Oh, I was just saying that it didn't hurt that Watson was a battle-hardened doctor surgeon that's a hell of a shot. So,
right, that's why. Like, is Watson a sidekick? So, Cooper, you just brought up a good thing to explain. What exactly is a sidekick?
Well, I always thought Watson was more of a partner than a sidekick.
Right.
But I think sidekick is basically when somebody is like under the auspices of somebody else, where like you have a mentor-mentee relationship, and usually there's a younger subordinate, like kid or like Shazam, Captain Marvel, and then Captain Marvel Jr.
Right.
To be an example of that. Even though Captain Marvel is actually a kid, it's actually younger than.
Right. At first, Captain Marvel was his own sidekick because it was Billy Batson, but yeah. But yeah. I now that Cooper, you made me think. I don't think Watson is because he's not under the tutelage or the authority or the, like you said, the auspices of Sherlock Holmes.
He's an assistant.
Right. He's an assistant. He's a partner.
They've also spun Watson off into his own stories without Sherlock Holmes. I mean,
I actually wrote a series where Watson was like the primary character. He actually has legs as a character.
There's a TV show right now called Watson without Sherlock Holmes. He's African American, which actually doesn't matter that much. But
I heard that the first sidekick in DC was Wing for the Crimson Avenger. He came out in 1939. So he beat Robin by 1 year.
Was late.
I've been
really remembers him. I know
it's funny because I talk to Grok a lot when I'm driving. I bounce ideas off it, and like
it's not always right.
I called it. I'm like, Grok, you're wrong about this. This is and Grok's like, yeah, like it was telling me Tolkien history because I was just testing Grok. I'm like, that's not true. And I said, stop speculating. And it said, okay. And then like I have to tell Grok every once in a while, stop speculating.
Yeah, I can answer that. Would Bilbo be a sidekick to Gandalf? No.
No, but Samwise,
people forget about the Crimson Avenger.
Yeah. Bilbo is Gandalf treated him like an equal.
The Lone Ranger and Tonto,
yeah, but
they're partners.
They were partners because Tonto wasn't like under his tutelage, and he saved the Lone Ranger. He taught him how to live off the land, all that stuff, the Indian stuff,
So it began sort of he was being mentored by Tonto, and then when he got prepared and he became the Ranger, that's when it became sort of an equal partnership. Yeah.
Did you read the Lone Ranger and Tonto? Right. Are they books too?
Yeah, written by Gaylord Dubois. There was about a series of 20 of them. I read the first 5 because they were in my dad's library when I was a kid. I didn't really experience too much from him. My dad loved him. There was also the Green Hornet and Kato, created by the same guy, Fred Straker. Another thing like that.
Aren't they related too? The Green Hornet is like
Brett Reed is the nephew to Clayton Reed, the Lone Ranger.
Right.
Don't you remember Warren Ellis sort of played with that with the I forgot the name of his shadow, the version of the shadow that he did, and that was the.
I gotta reread Planetary. After reading, because I read Planetary and then I got into all the pulp novels. I got to go back and reread Planetary. Mm-hmm. Great series, everybody. So I think we will agree then that a sidekick, typically younger, but they're learning, they're apprentice superhero, or detective or space traveler or whatever,
right?
The elderly assist. Excuse me, Alfred is not a sidekick.
No.
Well, Stripes, he's a sidekick and he's older.
Right. That was the whole point.
But that came later. A Toro and then Ebony White was the main for.
Yeah.
Right.
For a spirit. For spirit.
It was looked like he was 8 years old driving a taxi cab. That's a whole other issue.
Namorita for naming.
Well, yeah. I want to talk about Stripesy. So by the time there was the Star, what was it? Sylvester Pebbleton, the Star Spangled Kid. Mm-hmm. By the time he came out, the whole concept of sidekicks was already around for like 15 years or so. Well, so now they're playing against type. You know what I mean?
2 years.
And they had the adult was the sidekick to the kid.
Like 2 years. Like
it's 1941. Remember?
Oh, 1941. I thought it
came all out. This is within the first 40s. Like I said, what are the sidekicks in the 40s? And they're all between 40, even if it missed a couple, 40 and 40, between 40 and 41 mainly.
Yeah, and he was Sylvester. So sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
Chauffeur. That's for that kid. And then you have the what was the name of the cabbie with the Green Lantern? The guy that had the cab, Doiby
Dickles.
Doiby Dickles. And then you had the what was the one with the Plastic Man? The fat guy. Woozy Winks. See, so
yeah, well, the sidekicks became comedy. Woozy Winks, Doiby Dickles, and they were in every. If you go back, they're in every episode. He was only in so many episodes. Stanley hated sidekicks, by the way. That's why the Marvel characters really didn't have them.
For the most part, I don't like sidekicks either, but
they don't make sense in today's world. Back then,
back then, like, come on, Bucky. Bucky to me is Bucky and Robin are the most unrealistic sidekicks because they got no powers, and you just take a little kid out into battle or to fight.
I'm going to say that Brubaker's run, he turned Bucky into some pretty formidable soldier.
That's the one like retcon that really worked. I did read that. The Winter Soldier. He becomes the Winter Soldier, and he was used for something. But Brubaker still made him older than Simon and Kirby did, though. I mean, he's clearly like 12, maybe. And then,
in Brubaker's the Winter Soldier run, Bucky was actually a teenager, about 15, 16 years old. Except that.
I agree. The other thing about the 40s sidekicks too is when artists drew them. They looked like they were 8 years old. Look at Robin for years. Now, you knew he had to be 13 or 14 or 15 to do anything, but he looked like he was 8. And you're like, well, how could he do all this?
He wasn't. The thing about Robin that everyone forgets is that was not a sidekick. He was training an assistant. I mean, a replacement. See, in the continuity of the comics, we all know Batman's an IP. He'll never die. He'll outlive us all. But in the continuity of the comics, he's human. And he can only have a certain window where he can perform his tasks. He was training him. Like, think about it. You have an acrobatic boy who was already he was very physical. He suffered the same fate that Bruce Wayne did. Now, Bruce Wayne had to go out in the world, learn his own stuff, then apply that to crime fighting. Whereas he sees this little boy, he's angry. He's angry at the world, and he's very physical. He can do stuff, and he takes it sort of not only a mentorship, but also as a way to maybe channel the anger into something beneficial. So I always saw him as the Robins and Batgirl even as replacements. Batman doesn't train sidekicks, he trains assistants. Now, Bucky, on the other hand, makes no damn sense. He never made any sense to me.
No.
But,
He was just a camp sidekick. He was just a camp who hung out with the army camp. That
exactly. And Sandy from the Sandman made no damn sense. Now, Tim from the Black Terror, that was more of an equal thing because they both took the same pill.
Well, they had superpowers.
Yeah. Toro, that was another, like a mentorship. He saw the mutant that had the same powers he did, so he decided to mentor the kid, maybe try to help him channel that anger. Because remember, that was another Robin where his parents died, he was angry, blah, blah, blah. So there's certain of these old school sidekicks that make a lot more sense. The way I look at it is this, and this is going to sound gross, but I'm going to say it. It's like grooming, right? It's basically child grooming. But what it is look at the child armies in Africa, right? What they do is they take the kids when they're young and they teach them how to kill. They put a machete in their hand, a thing in their hand, and they grow up, they become soldiers. That's all they know. Kids young, they're like a sponge. You could tell them everything and they'll absorb it. Now, the same thing could be applied with Splinter and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He took the turtles and he basically taught them how to be child soldiers. Same thing can be used for Zordon and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I know you guys, I don't know how many of you guys watched that old show, but child soldiers right there. They're all child soldiers. Whereas, like I said, people like Toro and Robin are just replacements. That's all they are. So there's a multifaceted tier here between, equals, assistants, sidekicks, and then replacements, and then child soldiers. So you kind of have to do your own digging,
Right.
Also, keep in mind, in World War II, there were kids that were 14 years old and lied and joined the army. People within living memory were child workers in factories. Like nowadays, like we talk about Obamacare, they said your children up to 26 years old could be covered under your. I'm like, children 26 years old. Back in the 1940s, like you were 15 years old, you were like smoking a pipe. You know what I mean?
Well, the greatest warrior that America's ever produced was 17 when he joined the army, Audie Murphy.
Marty Murphy, that's right.
Yeah, that's my point. Is back then, like it's funny because you'll see pictures from the 70s, and there's just this guy with like a cigarette in his hand and a beer can, and he's got like chest hair and muscles, and like the picture says he's 16, 17 years old, and you're like, this guy looks like Matthew McConaughey at 35.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Like, the kid was smoking, so
you know what I mean. Like kids grew up. Like I'm not saying.
Well, Audie Murphy was already a non-com by the time he was 19 years old.
Right. Yeah.
But he had, by that time he'd already killed about 20 German soldiers.
Yeah, forget about World War One. Yeah. These,
but Bucky, according to Brubaker, the way Brubaker wrote him, basically, he was a traumatized kid who'd already seen he was already like fought to survive by the time he was 16, and all they did was just channel that, and basically the whole Bucky thing was a cover for the fact that he was a very highly trained assassin, basically.
Right. He was doing the stuff Captain America couldn't do.
Exactly,
but wouldn't do because he was too good.
Yeah, I guess that's a reason. That kind of seems kind of silly.
I know, but wasn't he 12?
Go back to the 40s and look at the covers, and you read it in the 40s.
I'm going with the Brubaker version. The early version, you're right. The other version was.
I mean, it makes sense.
The first version was like really.
Yeah, Bucky. That's because he got on because Bucky had machine guns back in the 40s, and Cap carried guns too, particularly on the covers. Because it was a war. He wasn't like, he wasn't just busting guys robbing banks.
Somebody, I want to scroll back to this. Right. Somebody made a comment that I put up, but I didn't want to interrupt anybody with talking. Where is it? Hi, Lord Zor. Would Aqualad make more sense than Sidekick?
I don't remember the origin of Aqualad.
See, I am like, we all look at sidekicks now. Like you're going to, first off, the whole concept of Batman is insane. You know what I mean? Like
well,
think about the Punisher, and all of a sudden he takes a 14-year-old kid, gives him a gun, and they're running around to the streets of Manhattan, and he's like gun boy or something.
Didn't Mark Miller and John Romita Jr. do a whole comic and movie about that?
But you know what I mean? Like we would be like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" But Robin, we accept it. But I am forgiving if the kid has superpowers. Like Wally West, Kid Flash, what was he, 12, 13 years old when he got the powers?
Yeah, he was young.
So
he had the power. He got
right.
Power.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you're 12 years old and you have like the powers of Flash, and basically Flash is a god in human form. Like to me, it would be like a derelict of your duty not to train this kid how not to hurt anybody. How, you know what I mean? Not to go out and fight Electro or something like that, but how to utilize your power without causing think about a 16-year-old Flash who doesn't know how to use his power. He could literally destroy the world. You know what I mean? So like a kid Aqualad, I don't know if he's that powerful enough, but like, all right, he could go out.
Well, he's Atlantean, so he's got built-in powers.
Right, but like, so I'm trying to think of like other superpowered younger kids, but you know what I mean? Like Supergirl. What was she, like 15 years old? Like she's invulnerable. Okay, she could go out and stop bank robberies. That don't bother me too much. But in 2025, the concept of
it's an older concept. It
is a bizarre concept. Donna Troy, that was a whole bizarre.
But that's because they want to put Wonder Girl in the Teen Titans, and there was no Wonder Girl. The Wonder Girl that we saw and Wonder Baby were stories of Wonder Woman's past.
Right, they messed up.
They didn't have a Wonder Girl. They were just like, oh, this is her when she was younger. I mean, I've seen some of the stories. They're really silly. But that's what they did.
Well,
and then they said Wonder Girl is in the Teen Titans. And then there has eventually, back in the 60s, didn't have to be a reason. But by 1976, there needed to be a reason, right?
Right. Yeah, Super. Watch Super. The Crimson Bolt with Bolty. It's a good, bad movie. If you like superheroes, it's a good, bad movie.
Well, obviously, Electra Woman and Dyna Girl. Dyna Girl was the best sidekick. Now, come on. Electra Woman? Come on.
High Lord Zark, the comment right before that one's pretty important.
Most nights started out as kids. It was normal for young men to have gone to war and have a wife and kids by 18. Yes. Yeah, the whole thank you, Lord Zart, for refocusing.
Oh, yeah, no, that's true.
And I just thought, and then I didn't want to interrupt anybody, and then the thought went away like a little birdie. But that happens a lot when in your dotage. When your beard turns gray, say what you got to say right then and there, because you're not going to remember it 10 minutes later. That in the bathroom. Never pass up a bathroom. But anyway, the whole concept of sidekicks, I do think, evolved from, the Squire, the Knight and the Squire.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I do have a story that for issue 12 of Heroic Tales about a superhero based on a knight, a sidekick based on a squire and stuff. But also keep in mind, people died at 30 back then. You know what I mean? Like the average person. Of course,
they also had kids.
Every time I say that, somebody goes, this guy lived to, the average person lived to 35, 40. By the time, usually this is going to sound gross, but like once women hit like menstrual cycle, they were married off. You know what I mean? And boys.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
We forget about this, but the signers of the Declaration of Independence, they were all like 21, 22. You know what I mean? They formed a country, wrote all these documents, fought the Brits. Nowadays, I wouldn't even lend a 20-year-old my car. You know? Yeah, so and it's a product of how good our times really are. You know, that the fact that you know, right now I'm a 57-year-old man talking about superheroes and comic books, and you know what I mean? Like, you know,
we're Gen X. We were frozen at teenagers. So,
right.
Well, also don't forget the families. Like if you had a farm, you wanted to have kids to have free labor for you. Like say Dolly Parton, like she had like 12 brothers and sisters.
Oh, she did?
She had a huge family because they worked on the farm.
And she was prepared for 12 children, but I don't think she had them, if you know what I'm talking about.
She couldn't have children. She can't have children, which is like upset her, I think.
Oh, I was making jokes that she was prepared.
Oh yeah, I know, but she in real life, yeah, she couldn't have children apparently. But
I didn't know.
Like
I feel bad.
But like those people, like in the mountains or in the farms, they had that was free labor,
right?
And so, like 4 or 5 years old, you're out doing something.
Yeah, my grandfather was 12 years old, and he was climbing trees in Sicily with those knives to cut the cork off the tree. You know, and then he had to sneak the money home to his mom because his father would beat him and take the money and go drinking. You know, things were tough back in the 1890s.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So we all in agreement that a sidekick is younger, like an assistant. Maybe it's being trained for a replacement. Maybe it's, you know, like in the point of a knight, like those knights getting into plate mail and stuff, like they couldn't dress themselves. They needed a squire literally to tie on the armor and things. That's like right. That. You know, if a knight dropped the sword, they like looked at the squire, like pick that up, you know, because of the agility constraints. But which brings up to I have no problems when a sidekick replaces the superhero. Like when Wally West became Flash, when Kid Flash stepped up and became Flash, to me, that was a natural progression. The character earned it through 10, 20, 30, 40 years of being there. I don't like when all of a sudden a character comes out of the blue and takes over somebody else's name. Like I don't like that.
Azrael.
Well, that was the whole point, was to show you that you don't.
No,
like
I know, but that's kind of out of the blue. I know that was the whole point of that.
I'm trying I know it's fashionable to bash on Carol Danvers becoming Captain Marvel, but that doesn't bother me because she was literally there from 1968. She was there. Right. How they portray her. You know what I mean? It's not that she became Captain Marvel. It's the fact that she became Captain. And then they started telling us that she was the most powerful, telling us she was the most popular, when she didn't earn it.
Like Jaime Reyes taking over for Ted Kord, even though he had no reason to do that. He just came in out of the blue.
That's right.
Yeah. Jim, I forgot about that one. Yeah. Like Ted Kord, he took over for Dan Garrett, but I don't think he was ever in the comics.
No, it was retro. It was the Fox Blue Beetle was completely different from the Charlton Blue Beetle. Victor Fox sold off the IP to Charlton. They liked the name, they liked the costume, so they did a whole thing there, and that's how they introduced Ted Kord, or rather, Steve Ditko introduced Ted Kord. So that's how that happened.
Ditko and Joe Gill probably.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. So let's just do like a rapid of some of your favorite sidekicks. So we'll start with Tony, and then we'll go to Cooper, and I'll go last. Tony, who's some of your favorite sidekicks?
Sancho Panza, because he kept Don Quixote grounded. He helped him out. He shepherded him through a really bad part of his life at that moment. John Watson, because I think he complemented Sherlock Holmes. A good assistant will complement the main character. I liked Dick Grayson because I think he's the king of the sidekicks, and don't get better than that. That's my favorite all-time comic book sidekick. There's another one. Would you consider Sierra Hall a sidekick, or more of a? You know, I
partner.
mean, they married later, but I'm talking about the Golden Age one, not the Thanagarian.
I,
She,
I I don't know. That's a
I
tough.
don't think she was ever really a sidekick, although back in
she
the 40s,
wrote him.
we did
And
like one.
back then, the women helped out like I was talking to John earlier. Inza Kramer helped Dr.
Yeah, well,
Fate.
that was tough
Yeah,
women in the 40s.
Diane Burnett helped the Sandman. So they weren't damsels in distress. But unlike those two, Shira actually got her pair of wings, got a costume. So she sort of graduated, I guess, from assistant to sidekick.
Well,
I
when they
guess.
were in
So she's good.
Showcase,
I like her.
when Joe
Yeah.
Kubert did his showcase, and they were coming from Thanagar as opposed to the Egyptian, like the
Mhm.
Age
Well,
Hawkman
they
was
were
Egyptian.
cops though. Yeah, that's
They
how
were
they
cops
started. Yeah.
together, and they were clearly equals, mostly equal. Well, as equal as you could be in the '60s with male domination, dominated. I don't know.
But yeah, those are some of my favorite. I'm sure I'll come up with some later, but off the
Right.
top of my head, those are there. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much my list. Yeah.
Cooper, who's some of your favorite sidekicks?
I liked Captain Marvel Jr. Because
Does
it
he a
was
sidekick?
yeah, he was a sidekick. Even though he was actually older than Captain Marvel, he's technically a sidekick. I also I kind of like the Toro as a sidekick. Because he had one artificial being and he was actually a actual human, and so they had a really interesting dynamic going on there.
Bro, was he officially Marvel's first mutant?
Some people consider him that, yeah.
Namor.
Right. More later on, they decided he was a mutant. You know what I mean? But
they decided mutant in the '60s. They didn't wait till the '80s or '90s.
But Toro was the first. His origin was he was born that way.
Right.
Yeah.
He was the first one that they would consider mutant.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's I'm a Winter Soldier fan, so I'm all right with Bucky, especially Brubaker wrote him. And I like Damian Wayne.
Okay.
I'm the one person. I'm that guy. So
Jimmy Olsen a sidekick?
I would say yeah. I mean, every third issue he has a power. He could stretch, turn into a turtle or something like that. So
it's kind of like the Rick Jones. It's kind of like a Rick Jones, I guess.
Yeah, Rick Jones was upgraded into a sidekick.
Rick Jones was a sidekick to many, many heroes.
Yeah. So, Marcus, who are your favorite sidekicks?
Well, I like Bucky that turned into Winter Soldier. He became much more. Even back in the '40s, he was pretty useful. I mean, and Robin, you have to like Robin. He's the original. Everybody you could say Speedy, complete copy. Well, so was Green Arrow, complete copy of Batman and Robin. I liked I like Kid Flash because just because he became the Flash, because when he was the Teen Titans, even in the '60s, he was the main character of the Teen Titans, and he had all that angst of wanting to be hero. Is he really want to be hero? Not. There wasn't any Rick Jones. I like Rick Jones. I mean, he always added, and they made a reason why he was the sidekick. Not Hulk, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Hulk again. That's about it. I'd like to. If we should talk about like the kid gang, the gangs that Kirby and Simon Kirby created. That instead of they just bypassed, we'll make if the characters like if the kids like kid sidekicks, we'll just make a whole group, and you have the Boy Commandos, Boys Ranch,
the Newsboy Legion,
right? Newsboy Legion actually had a mentor, and that was a huge moneymaker for Simon and Kirby and DC Comics. They lasted Newsboy Legion a long run in Star Spangled Comics. They just bypassed
concept. Just the fact selling newspapers,
did Stan Lee bypass it instead of having a sidekick? They co-created Spider-Man, right, to have the young character actually be the hero and the star of the comic. I mean, he was 16 years old when he became Spider-Man.
Oh, what about Clea? Is she considered a sidekick?
I think love interest.
Mentor, mentee.
Mentor. I mean,
Yeah.
that was what they said he was. I mean, that was the grooming of all grooming. If you go back and read the 70s, particularly not the 60s as much, but
it was pretty creepy.
Hard 70s. That was the grooming of all grooming. She was not only the mentor, sidekick, and love interest. She slept with Ben Franklin.
Yeah, well,
Issue number 17 of Doctor Strange.
Ben Franklin had a lot of,
which was really creepy, by the way. Even when I was a kid, I'm like, what the heck is going on?
I gotta say, as far as sidekicks go,
that's a real grooming situation.
I know he's controversial, but I still love Ebony from the side.
I like Ebony too. He doesn't really he's not in the spirit. Well, the spirit's 8 pages every day, every week. He's not in the spirit as much as people thought he was.
Right. But like, yeah, he had that. He was the black character with the big white lips and everything like that. Well, not quite a pickaninny, but there was another term that I can't remember. But he was a unflattering racial stereotype that even Will Eisner.
But he was a competent.
But that's what I like about Spirit. Ebony,
they treated him.
He was
well.
kind of a huggy bear.
The Spirit treated him pretty well. He wasn't.
But he was a tough, smart kid who, yeah, okay, he's 8 years old.
But
like, he could have been stealing. Like, if you read the pre-war stories, Ebony, his brothers were like hoodlums that were out in the streets stealing and stuff like that. But not Ebony. He was a good kid,
Well, when they create something like that, that is something that Will Eisner saw in his neighborhood. That's why, and that's the way they drew those things back then. He apologized for the rest of his life after that.
And I have to laugh because then they replaced him with an Eskimo named Blubber. And then people got outraged. And then they kept a stupid white kid named Sammy. And that was okay to have a dumb white kid. You can have a stupid white kid. Nobody gets upset. But you can't have a dumb
he really
or a smart black kid. But anyway, he's one of my favorites. I got to say Robin is one of my favorites. I hated Bucky until the Winter Soldier. Ed Brubaker did the impossible. He got me to like a character that I hated whenever Captain America, like Ben Grimm is just like eating cereal and he's like, I'm a hideous freak, just out of nowhere. But like every once in a while, Captain America's just like walking down the street. He's like, why, Bucky, did you die in the war? Like, I just hated him because that's all he was like a failure for Captain America. And then Brubaker made him interesting and then brought him back, which is like a thing. Nobody stays dead but Bucky and Uncle Ben. And I'm sure Uncle Ben's coming back any day now.
No, they'll never bring Uncle Ben back. He's a white, straight male.
Yeah. Well, Bucky was too.
Pie Face. I forgot about him.
Oh,
I remember Pie Face. Yeah, Pie Face was pretty racist too.
Yeah.
Tom.
Yeah, he was the Eskimo, right?
His name was Tom.
Yeah, he was the Eskimo friend of Green Lantern. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, they got rid of him pretty quick.
Yeah.
Snapper Carr.
Yeah, he was annoying.
Oh, he was terrible. They had him snapping, and then they had him turn on the Justice League.
Johnny Thunder.
Johnny Thunder was an interesting character. I always liked Johnny Thunder, but was he a sidekick?
Yeah, he was like the mascot for the JSA, the same thing that Snapper Carr was for the JLA. But yeah,
and he ended up becoming like the most powerful one. He had the genie.
Yeah, that was the joke. He had an omnipotent genie, but he was an idiot, so he couldn't take advantage of it. That was the joke.
Yeah, I always liked that character. All right, so we all talked about our favorite sidekicks.
Herrenberg talks Young Justice is almost entirely a group of sidekicks.
Right. That's what they were. They were all the sidekicks. There was the sidekicks. Then there was the Teen Titans who were like more experienced than the Justice League.
There was the World War II sidekicks. What were they? Young Allies.
Yeah, Marvel. But I do agree with Tony that I think the best sidekicks are either somebody who's just too powerful to be on their own and they need a mentor, or like a knight squire. Like a squire has to start out like an apprentice construction worker, like I'm an electrician. We have apprentices. We don't let the apprentices go into the high voltage rooms. You know, they literally have to stand at the threshold, and we kind of like enunciate what we're doing. So because they can't just all of a sudden, okay, you're not an apprentice more, and then come into the room and work with high voltage. You know what I mean? It's there's no rule that says they can't come in, but we don't let them come in until we trust them. You know what I mean? So like, come on in, and then slowly we're teaching them to be master electricians. And I think that's like Robin is being trained to be a crime fighter now, like to take over Batman or Nightwing or become his own thing. That's, you know, that kind of concept of a sidekick I like. And I do like now that they're saying like they like if you recruit a sidekick, that's like kind of creepy. But like you find a kid that like
they did who was the guy who did Brad Pack. Once they did Brad Pack, that's like the end of the sidekick.
Yeah, Brad.
That was this is how it would be. The guy would be a groomer and want to sleep with his sidekick, and they'd be taking drugs it's the same thing. They'd be taking all sorts of drugs to actually do the superheroic so they wouldn't feel pain and all that. Like once you read that, that's the end. That's the end. You can't even read superheroes.
Deconstruction. Freaking deconstruction.
Yeah, I mean it's like really deconstructed. It was bad. It's a good comic, but it's bad.
A good comic, but man, it is like you know how they say this is the feel good movie of the summer. Brat Pack is the feel bad comic of the summer. Oh my God.
I mean, you would never look.
Was that an Alan Moore?
Read that thing?
No, it's Rick Veitch.
Veitch, but that's how he is. Yeah.
Now, Herrenberg is asking an interesting question: would the Heralds of Galactus be considered sidekicks or delivery?
I don't think so.
No,
they're heralds.
Assistants.
Yeah.
Assistants.
Yeah, they're assistants, minions, henchmen, whatever you want to
call. I've got an interesting question.
Sure.
Would Tim Drake be considered a sidekick like the other Robins were? Because Tim Drake wasn't really taken under Batman's wing. He kind of just took over the role, became his own superhero as Robin, and then was accepted by Bruce later after he'd already established himself and proven himself. Yeah. And so he kind of like I don't think you can call Tim Drake a sidekick.
Oh, I would have, but I'm not going to argue with you if you don't consider him a sidekick.
Well, I'm just saying that he's definitely an exception.
He's had a more convoluted origin than most, I guess.
Well, like it was really brilliant because the whole Jason Todd death in the family thing kind of.
Oh, that was a disaster. Well, nobody liked Jason Todd, but that's just a shame.
I mean, but it killed Robin for all time, and so when they came up with the idea to take Tim Drake and like make him
turn off that camera, turn off the mic.
Is spoiler Tim Drake's sidekick then?
I don't know enough about spoiler.
I don't know. She was his girlfriend. I mean, I don't. She also became a Robin. She's considered a Robin, Stephanie Brown.
Oh, that's true. That's true, Stephanie Brown.
Yeah.
There's too many Robins now. They've kind of diluted the Robinness.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to talk about Carrie Kelly.
So I don't.
Batman's no longer alone. Doesn't he have like
Batman have had other bird-based sidekicks, like named all of his that would have been horrible if you had one named Swallow, but like Starling, Sparrow, Blue Jay, like Pigeon.
There was a character named Blue Jay in the 40s, and he had sidekicks. Like you could ask Grok or ChatGPT, and they'll list all the main ones. But every adult character in the 40s had a sidekick.
Right.
Well, they wanted like a touch point for the younger reader.
Well, also it's such a copycat thing. Comics were always a copycat thing, and particularly in the 40s, they were a copycat thing. It's like every publishing house rejected Superman, including Will Eisner, and then within a year they're making their own characters that are close to Superman. Whether it's Captain or Wonder Man, and he got sued. Eisner got sued for Wonder Man.
Mm-hmm.
It was too close, and he had to shut that
down.
Tony's
trying to say something, but he doesn't want to turn on his mic.
Okay.
What do you want to say, Tony?
I was going to say, did you ever buy that Denny O'Neil really had he gave you the illusion that you could kill Robin. I always thought that Robin was going to die regardless, and that he just sort of made Jim Aparo draw that other page just to cover his ass. that the die was set for poor Jason Todd. What do you think?
You think that he was going to be killed no matter what? They were just going to fudge.
Yeah, I think
that's the feeling that they were planning to kill him, and they decided to do that.
I don't know, but I refuse to have anything to do with it. That was the very first time that I was aware that
I don't remember calling
that this was like a bad gimmick. You know what I mean? I was just like, I don't want to.
Yeah, it's a really bad gimmick. I don't want to
participate in this. Space Ghost had sidekicks, Jace, Jan, and Blip. Yep. Tarzan had Cheetah.
Well, I do have to say that them bringing Jason Todd back and making him the Red Mask is probably one of the best character revivals I think I've seen. Him and Archangel are probably on the same level for me. So
yeah, bring it. Yeah, I do like when a sidekick levels up and becomes their own character. You know, like
that's always fun.
You know, like
Nightwing. Yeah.
Now I haven't been following DC in a while. Like Barry Allen is back, right? So what is Wally West? What is he called now? He also Flash?
Oh, they've ruined Wally West for all time.
That was had to do with Tom.
They made him into a serial killer, I think, and then they replaced him with the Black Kid or something. I don't know.
He was black on a TV show.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on. This sounds awful. I've said it a million times. They never should have brought back Barry Allen. He had one of the best deaths in all of comics.
Well, comics ended about 10 years ago. So,
well, I haven't bought a new Marvel comic since 2015. So I can't believe it. It's 10 years now that I quit new comics. All right, so let's talk about some of the. I think this is we're all gonna agree. Tony, who's the best sidekick of all time?
It would be a tie for me between John Watson and Dick Grayson. That would be it.
Cooper, what about you?
Well, I'm gonna have to say Dick Grayson.
Yeah, Marcus.
I would have to say Dick Grayson. Has to be.
Yeah,
everybody knows his name. Everybody thinks Robin is still Dick Grayson, no matter what they do.
Yeah, Robin is the best sidekick of all time. Like normies, like I bet you could go to India and they could name Robin.
Batman and Robin. It's Dick Grayson.
Yeah, I think he's the best sidekick.
And you know, before he became Nightwing, I mean, they had him go to college, and he had his own mature stories as a 20-year-old in college. And the Batman family in the 70s. I mean, they really did a lot with him to try to grow him up.
Well, I think when you look at his development arc, I mean, he had the most complete. I mean, he went from like when he got to be a teenager, then he went to Teen Titans and he became the leader of Teen Titans, and then he at some point graduated to Nightwing, his own character, and then he.
But as soon as he became the Teen Titans and the Brave and Bold, when they first originally, he automatically was the leader because he was trained by Batman, as Tony said. Right. He was automatically the leader with Wonder Girl and Speedy, and he always the non-powered leader of every iteration of the Teen Titans. And
you notice he is more well-adjusted than Batman.
Yes,
he's actually mentally stable, unlike Batman. Like Bruce Wayne actually succeeded with Dick Grayson.
Right.
Succeeded with him completely.
I think Bruce even says that. Like you're more. Oh, anybody who travels with Doctor Who is a sidekick. You know.
Oh, that's true.
You know,
that's true.
From what's her name? Why every Doctor Who sidekick name just vanished from my mind.
They're all named Rose.
Rose Tyler. You know, to
Sarah Jane.
To Sarah Jane, you know, to all of these people were all sidekicks.
Yeah, let's.
What that?
You dead named it. You know, it's a dead name.
Yeah, but you know,
I do want to say something about Batman. Batman was pretty well adjusted up until Frank Miller took him, and then he became a crazy person, and then made him.
He was
Before
smiling.
that, he was kind of like adopted by the cops, and he could go on international spy missions to get Ra's al Ghul. You know, he was intense and a little darker than the rest of the Justice League, but he was still a superhero.
And
now he's Punisher, you know, in a Batman costume.
You know,
or if I'm wrong, let me know. I mean, I read some of
you
the
see
stuff.
Batman swinging with a big smile on his face. You know,
He didn't have to smile. Yeah, well, I don't mind him that he doesn't smile. I can see them darkening him up a little bit, like. But Neil Adams.
Well, when he took over Batman for a little while, Damian was his Robin. It was a really good run. That's one of my favorite runs.
I think the last time I really liked Robin in Batman was when Mike Barr and Alan Davis did that. They did a terrific, like that was a throwback where Batman was intense, but it was a bunch of fun comics. Yeah. And they did Batman Year One, and then Alan Davis got mad and Todd McFarlane take over.
Yeah. Well, but it was interesting because Gordon realized that there was a new Batman because
I remember that. I did read those.
He could do backflips. Yeah, because he was doing backflips and he was doing acrobatics, and Batman doesn't do that. Right. Plus, he smiled, and Gordon's like, "Okay, you're not Batman. You're not. I don't know who you are, but you're not Batman." But he
wore a great costume too.
What you said?
A great costume.
Yeah.
Kid Marvel, man. How about when sidekicks
go sidekick?
When sidekicks go bad? You know, you could have Jason Todd there for a
Alan
little
Moore,
and then Kid Marvel, man, and
that's
I mean the only two that I can think of.
Alan frickin' Moore. Damn.
Well, that's because he did uniquely British. Because British, they have superheroes there, but they really superheroes is an American thing. We understand heroism, like John Wayne and the movies in the 50s and 60s and the 40s. People were heroes.
All British writers understand is deconstruction.
You know,
all they understand is destroying heroes. They can't build heroes.
They don't really understand the hero. They're heroes. Judge Dredd, Marvel Man. You know, they don't really understand what the Americans understand about heroes. We made George Washington a hero, Thomas Jefferson.
British writers are the cancer of the comic industry. British writers are the cancer of the comic industry.
I forget who I was talking to about this, but I said the Americans, we always celebrated the rugged individuality. You know, that was America. You know, and you know, it started with with what was his name, Fredison Cooper with Deerslayer. You know, if a hugely popular book that is completely forgotten about.
James Fenimore Cooper.
James, thank you. That was your grandfather, right? No, I'm just joking. But he wrote about a guy who went out and tamed the savage, you know, before the West. You know, he was fighting Indians and deers and skinning animals and living off the fat of the land, things like that.
The last of the Mohicans,
right?
Yeah,
last Mohicans. Yeah.
And then it slowly turned into cowboys, and then cowboys are just the next. I mean, one step after cowboys is superheroes. Now, Britain, I'll get to you, Tony. Let me just finish this thought, and then you talk. I know you're killing you with the mic, but with Britain has a 1,000-year history, and they had fascism and autocrats and tyrants for large times in British history. Like the British invented concentration camps and things like that. Like there's a lot of horror. So for a hero like Judge Dredd, that's just like, oh yeah, that's like so and so from history. That's like, you know, where Britain, I mean, America is a young, you know, idealistic, optimistic country compared to Britain, you know, and we never went through that fascist, you know, forget about what liberals say. We never went through that period yet. So our heroes are Superman, Captain Marvel, The Flash, you know what I mean? And then after Vietnam or during Vietnam, we had Fantastic Four and Spider-Man and more flawed heroes, but we never had Judge Dredd as a, you know, a top-selling hero character. Like the closest is the Punisher. And we all know, like, I think even the craziest diehard Punisher fan realizes that it's not really good. It's kind of like an indulgent fantasy, whereas, but that's what I think. So, that's the difference between the Brit is they legit had tyrants, fascism. Like look at right now. Look at right now. I could see Judge Dredd patrolling the streets. Like, you said something bad against Muslims, But Tony, what were you going to say? I know you're dying.
I was just going to say superheroes are a uniquely American thing. Like, we created three things, we created three things. We created the mystery story as created by Edgar Allan Poe, jazz, and comic books. So that's
right.
That's why superhero comics are only well done, or they were in the United States. Like John said, the Brits can't do it. The Brits just don't have it in them. They have heroic stories like King Arthur and stuff like that, but they just can't understand a costumed.
They got to take a dump on it. Every time. Every time.
It's like
John Henry.
I can't look at Superman as being good because he's just too powerful, and there's got to be something wrong with him. I can't see him as being nice. I have to see him through a prism of, what's he like when in his off hours? How does he, what gets him off? And that's how they do it. They just take things apart when they put them back together again. Sometimes it works, like with Swamp Thing and with Miracle Man. Sometimes it does. Most times it doesn't work. But yeah, that's all I was going to say.
Well, like Americans had all before John Henry, Paul Bunyan, Pecos Bill, all the Western, those type of things, and those are all heroes. Johnny Appleseed, they made all these heroes before comics.
Well, see, America has the Judeo-Christian ethic. We have at the heart of. Well, we did, but that's one of the things that we come from when it came to superheroes. Was we came from the point of view of kind of like Jesus Christ, and in some way, shape, or form, a lot of our the self-sacrificial savior kind of like comes from that. But the British feel like they're so far beyond Christ, and they're post-Christian culture, and so
wouldn't worship government so much. Like they're all such progressives, and when half their country they had some freaking inbred tyrant destroying their country, or Philip just died. Now we're gonna have a war for 25 years to see who's gonna take over. Half the country's gonna get destroyed. Oh, we're ruled by France. You'd think they would want to limit the power of the government after all the horrors that they're like. You think let's I don't know. I could only.
Well, it's like your man Mark Miller last year when or 2 years ago. I can't remember when it was. But when he was like lamenting the death of the comic book industry, what happened? And I was like, you happened, you motherfucker. You happened.
That's
you and your boys. You and your freaking boys.
His characters, not just he are all deconstructed. They're all twisted. Even his popular superheroes are not really superheroes. They're really villains.
Yeah. Even though you want to write a story
guy to talk to, and he's a joy, even if he wrote Superman, which he did, and it's just, and they're great. They're good comics. It works for him. But like even his Avengers, the Ultimate Avengers, like how twisted were they? You're like, Hulk was a cannibal. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were sleeping together.
He wanted to write a story. Wonder Woman was raped. I think I heard that somewhere. DC do that. And I was like,
in DC, the best sidekick is Kid Flash, and Marvel, the best sidekick Foggy Nelson, because he can get you out of jail.
Yeah, he was a sidekick at some point.
Was he? Would you consider Foggy Nelson a sidekick?
I think he's more like a supporting.
No, I consider him a partner. Yeah,
I think he's a supporting
character. Yeah.
He's a sidekick, then J. Jonah Jameson's a sidekick.
Black Widow was a sidekick. Boy, they put her in it, and so was Falcon.
Right.
We didn't talk about the Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they put their names on the title because that's DEI of the 70s, but they were sidekicks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what else to say about sidekicks other than I'll give you a little spoiler about my comics.
I didn't realize how
In
late.
Heroic Tales, there's really only 2 or 3 ways to get powers. One is through magic, which is super, 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 super rare. One is the main way, which you'll see in Mary Sue. Hopefully, we'll see it within 2 weeks or 2 months. Between shipping, printing, and
I know, I'm not saying anything.
So that's the main way. And then there's a couple of like little bizarre, anomalous ways. We'll leave it at that. Now, I've already talked about that in my comic book. The main way of getting superpowers affects your mind, and not everybody can handle it. In my world, most beings with superpowers are bad guys. Let's face it: the average person given power, is going to get corrupted. It's the rare person that actually stays true. Just imagine if your best friend became like the Roman emperor. How long before they're a piece of crap? You know what I mean? Power corrupts. There's a reason we say that. So the government, like I keep saying in my comic books, you'll see in Patriarch #1, every superhero has 2 origins: the real origin and then the false origin, to keep people off the trail. Government start to realize that kids deal with this power better. Like if you're 40 years old and all of a sudden you get powers, you're too human in your thinking. You don't utilize your powers well. You could go a little bit crazy. But if the younger you are when you get the powers, it becomes natural. So there's like a government program of sidekicks. That's how I deal with sidekicks. Like I just find it creepy to like, I'm going to go get a kid and give him a gun and we're going to go kill bank robbers or something like that, or beat up bank robbers. But no, it's like you are now assigned to the sidekick because it's a government training program and you already work for the government. So you might see some sidekicks later on, but hopefully there's a twist. But again, I like the sidekick that graduates to become either a replacement or his own hero. I think that's like a mentorship or a squire, because I don't think the knights were training squires to replace them. They were training the squires to become other knights in the service of their lord. But anyway,
well, I think that that's one of the ways that Marvel really screwed up is when they took all of that character building, all of that arc from Bucky, and just completely, totally jettisoned it because they wanted the Captain America to be black. And it just
Bucky deserved. Well, he was Captain America in the Brubaker run for a little while, and Bucky is the Ascension. He's the next Captain America, regardless if he's as good as.
Russos were trying to. They were pointing in that direction the whole way.
They definitely were.
I mean, he was catching. He caught the shield, and when they were fighting Iron Man, he held the shield multiple times, and so it's just the fact that they just screwed the whole thing up.
Because I know this is weird to say, but like there's a lot of symbolism in superheroes, and the motif there. Bucky literally wore the colors of Captain America. Kid Flash had the powers, and he was in a way a relative of Barry Allen.
He had the same exact costume for a long time.
Right, he had the same exact costume. Robin was. There was no doubt that he was. I mean, it was a bat to a bird or whatever, but you understood that he was the light to Batman's dark. There was a natural succession. Now, Falcon, he started out as a sidekick, but like he doesn't have the same. Like if he was the Eagle, maybe there's more of an argument. But it's not that he's black. It's just that Bucky was the natural successor.
Well, as soon as they brought him back, he was absolutely.
Right, he was
with the superpowers.
And Falcon, he has to give up his costume to take another. Like he has to.
Falcon ended up to be his own character. He didn't have to become Captain America. He was the Falcon.
Right.
Like he had his own miniseries. He was a member of the Avengers. Like they could have a series without and the Falcon series and not have not be in Captain America at all. Like, in fact, it says Captain America and the Falcon. You can make the argument that was really bad because Captain America is the white savior of the Falcon, which that's not what they meant, but that's what it could be looked like today. So it doesn't make any sense. What Bucky was.
I mean, let's face it, John Walker was a better character than Bucky.
What did you say?
I mean, John Walker wound up being a better character than. I said John Walker wound up being the better character than Falcon did. I mean,
in the movies,
they ruined the whole thing. And the television show and
I mean, Falcon was a fine character until they put him in the TV show and made him Captain America.
Exactly,
he was fine.
Yes,
I mean the whole thing up to Endgame was fine. I mean, you could have, like, I know John has problems with Endgame, the movie itself, but all the characters acted like the characters. Right. I mean, people have a problem with Thor, but up until Endgame, it was really okay. And then after that, it's a disaster.
Yeah. Like for Captain America, for Falcon to become Captain America, they were, to me, what they're saying is that there was a problem with being Falcon. You know, there's nothing wrong with being
Falcon with a big heavy shield. It doesn't make any sense.
And if you're gonna give him the shield and you're gonna give him the red, white, and blue, you call him American Eagle. You know what I mean? Meet me halfway. You know, he's got the
Eagle. You know, I think American Eagle is better. Yeah,
you call him American Eagle, and that way you can have another person be Captain America. You can have another person be Falcon, and you got a whole nother character. You know, it's like they did it the absolute worst possible way. To me, it just shows that the committee that wrote that movie doesn't understand comic books.
There's been there has been several Captain Americas. They retconned the Spirit of 76 as Captain America, like that in that What If #4, and Liberty, and that guy in the Liberty Legion became Captain America. I made a drawing of all of them, and then one day, and because Steve Rogers was dead, and the government wanted to have a Captain America, and that's why Steve Walker became a Captain America, and the Captain America of the 50s. They've had other Captain Americas, but really, it always has to go back to Steve Rogers at some point. I mean, yeah.
Anybody got anything else to say? I really don't have anything else to say, and I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, but it's happened. It's late. Yeah, we were on longer than I
thought. Anything you want to say?
No, I just reminded me American Eagle is an apparel company. I just remembered that.
With Sydney Sweeney as the
maybe next week.
There's actually an in public domain character called American Eagle. He's like an Indian character.
Interrupt him because he's got to deal with that mic. And it's
Marvel had a Native American character named American Eagle, didn't
Marcus, let Tony talk.
That's what I was saying.
Cooper, everybody, when I'm putting my hand up, stop talking. Let Tony talk so he can turn off that mic. That's killing everything. Tony, you got to get a new mic.
Sorry, I'll split right now. For next week, sexiest superheroes, female superheroes. What do you think?
Like femme fatales, we'll make it a little bit more classy. Okay, well, that sounds good. What do you guys think?
That's fine.
How about Black Widow versus She?
We'll bring it up next week. But yeah,
that sounds good.
Yeah, so we'll do like what the biggest femme fatale. We'll try to class it up a little bit.
I think we should introduce Herwenberg ought to come in. He's an expert.
Yeah.
Of female superheroes, he has all his own.
All right, so that's what we'll do next week. We'll do the femme fatales, and I don't know what else to say. Cooper, anything you want to promote?
No, just the sample PDF and the everything's in my X bio. Just check it out.
Marcus?
Well, I'm on the studio tomorrow. It's the 1 year, 52nd episode of the studio, which is really astounding when you think about it. And it may be the Don's last episode of the studio.
Why? He says it every week. He says it every week.
Well, this could be the last. This could be the last. It's clobbering time because a meteor can destroy the Earth.
I think he's bipolar.
Yeah.
He's off his meds this week, so this is every other week. I think comfortable saying that, and I would say it to him, so that's why this is like an every other week thing we deal with. And so we will have a studio, maybe run by Omer Glitch. Probably a better host anyway. We'll get better guests. But anyway, that's the 52nd. It was good. It's on at 7. It was going to be a 6-hour thing, but it's going to be regular time. We don't have a guest, which would be nice, actually. I like to have a guest.
I think he asked me to like pop on. But,
cool.
Yeah, he was asking everybody to pop on, asking a lot of people to pop, some people. Yeah. But I don't know if that's still going on or not. He doesn't mind doing the drawing and being on stream. He's tired of running the show because he's got to watch his mom. He's got to run the show. Nobody has it worse. You can read into what I say, whatever you like.
Yeah.
Nobody has it worse than Don.
I am familiar with Don.
Honestly, his living situation is difficult. You know, there's something missing there. I'd like to help him. You know, at least give him an idea of help him. There's got to be some federal thing where they can just move those poo out of that place into somewhere else. That's what has to happen. Somebody's got to condemn where he's living, and it's been done, right? There's Section 8. There's all sorts of things that people, right? It's got to be, because he can't be in fear of every time it rains. It's bad. It's really, really, really bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like the accounting is the lettering is done. I'm going to go over like. As soon as we're done with this for Heroic Tales #2, I'm going to go over the dialogue. I'm going to sit here like a crazy person and read my comic out loud. You know, just sometimes, you know, you read the comic so many times that you don't realize the dialogue is wonky. And then, like I said, Luke is doing some. He's doing a letters page for me, and then he's doing like an ad for like all of my like cards and whatever, you know, you could go to this page and buy it. And then depending upon how many pages everything is, I got a couple of extra ads to stick in. Matt Barr did one, Brian Bow did one, and Fabrizio Aiello did one. Probably, I don't want to say, and DC Miller did one. So
nice.
At least one is going to get bumped. I think the DC Miller one I'm going to hold off because it involves King Fu. So I'll probably put that because King Fu is going to be a major character in Heroic Tales 3.
Did you ever have your wife read the comic to you? That might be it.
No, she's still never even read my comic. I went up into her office and it's still laying on the table. I put it on the table and it's still in the same position for like almost.
A lot of the wives of the comic creators are like that. Just don't feel bad.
She's just happy that it makes me happy. I don't know. In her mind, she's going to read it and it's going to be terrible, and then she's going to be like, "This sucks." You know, right now it's the greatest comic book ever because it's like an unscratched lottery ticket, right?
Yeah. Well, I let my wife look at the artwork, and then it's a nice normie look at it, you know, like super normie.
So do you think your wife is going to be excited? Because Marcus just finished a 2-page.
Will she be excited? She's been excited in the past, and I published before, so she's fine with it. I annoy her enough that, you know, it's good for me to do it for my own mental health. So
just so everybody knows what I'm talking about, Marcus just finished a 2-page silent story that I'm going to submit to Pete Sabetti. I hope he accepts it.
Oh yeah, it's silent. Yeah,
I
really worked on that, so it works. I really worked on that, so it works.
Talking when other people are talking.
I'm sorry.
We can't have everybody talking at the same time.
Well, we need to wear headphones.
So we're going to submit it to Pete Sabetti. I hope he accepts it. It came out on a Wednesday, 2 pages. It's being colored this weekend. And Heroic Tales 3, the script is written, and I got a couple of people proofreading it. That's all I got to say. That's everything. So next week, yeah, we'll do like biggest femme fatale in it's clobbering time. Chicks fighting. We're all gonna like that. So thanks a lot, everybody.
All right, good night.
Thanks a lot, Cooper. And Cooper, maybe me and you know, Luke still hasn't said no. I'm trying to do another theology with Cooper, but Luke Stone expressed interest in being it, and it's just getting us 3 together with my crazy schedule. It's like herding cats. I'm the trouble one. Luke isn't gonna stay up till midnight, and Cooper works during the day like a normal person. So it's going to be hard to do a show for the time being. All right, thanks everybody. Oh, Sunday for Sunday Comics, I'm going to do Wolf and Batsy number 13. Brian Bao asked me to do it, so I'll
nice. That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. See you, everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.